While we're waiting for the esteemed guests to take the place, it's a great pleasure for me to be here with you in Cluj. First time visiting Cluj. I think it's an ideal venue for the 2022 Regional Air Transport Conference, given the rich heritage of the city. As we know, it's at the crossroads of different civilizations. I would say that 2022 has been a good year for transport. It seems that traffic is bouncing back compared to what was the case in 2020 and 2021 as a result of COVID-19. So that's certainly good news, which definitely allows us to look at the longer term as well. And as we know, the big issue now is about sustainability. Sustainability lies on three different pillars: the economic, social, and environmental. And we can certainly say that aviation is doing quite well in the first two pillars. Some of the economic and the social, very much related to today's theme, because aviation is a major generator of income, of employment, and what matters here is connectivity and enhanced accessibility. Tourism, as we all know, is structurally interrelated to air transport. In order to reach a destination, you need a good level of accessibility. Air transport is of paramount importance in this case. Again, if we talk about logistics, air cargo is very important. We all realize the importance of air cargo during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, of course, there are areas of concern, especially with respect to the third pillar of sustainability, which is about the environment. We had an interesting discussion earlier, some insights about how important it is to deal with environmental concerns, how difficult and challenging it is at the same level. Obviously, demonizing air transport is not the way forward. We need to be realistic and find solutions that can work. Sustainable aviation fuels, for example, can be such a solution. Of course, what we need to make sure is that we provide good incentives to all involved stakeholders in order to improve their environmental footprint. So what matters when we talk about air transport accessibility is not just about airlines, it's not just about airports or the entire supply chain related to ground handlers or airspace and so on. It's about bringing all the different stakeholders together, and collaboration is of utmost importance. So after this brief introduction, I think it's time to move on. We have three esteemed personalities with us. We have Mr. Kadri Samsunlu, who is the CEO of Aviation Istanbul Airport. Dr. David Ciceo, who is the CEO of Cluj International Airport, and Mr. Cristian Paris, who is VP Balkans of Menzies Aviation. My suggestion is that we should structure this panel discussion into two rounds. The first round, I'm going to ask our panelists to briefly say a few things on their organization, and then we can initiate the discussion with some questions. So, Kadri, shall we start from you? And once again, congratulations on being awarded today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back in Cluj. I strongly recommend newcomers to the city spend some time in downtown. It's extremely astonishing. It was very astonishing 20 years ago. I'm sure now it's much developed and very beautiful natural area as well in the city. Istanbul Airport, most of you already are quite familiar about our company, our new operation. We started the operations in 2019. As some of you did already experience, the old airport was very congested. It had a capacity of 40 million, but it used to handle almost 65 million. And there were a lot of constraints in terms of capacity, whatever is available, was basically taken by Turkish Airlines. There was no room for international airlines commencing service to Istanbul. Aviation, I mean, Turkey is a service economy, mainly a service economy, and we would like to grow in the aviation league. And to do that, in the last, I would say, 30 years, Turkey has an ambition to have a strong flagship carrier. And to a certain extent, we did it. Besides that, it's a tourism country, and for which you need to have a very good infrastructure. If you have sea lines and like a lot of historical places, you need to be able to bring people directly to those locations. To be able to deliver the good results in terms of handling the tourism numbers and the revenue, you should develop good airport infrastructure, and which we did in the last 25 years through BOT program. Almost 10 airports were developed and currently being run by private companies. Of course, Istanbul is a different role in the aviation industry in Turkey and globally, because we're a hub. And in this hub model, we would like basically to cater the growth requirements of our flagship carrier, Turkish Airlines. But at the same time, as we all discuss and will discuss today, the connectivity is extremely important. If you don't let people come to your country or come to your city by plane, then you will never be a global city. Istanbul historically is a very attractive location, but we would like to bring more people from more destinations, and Turkish is not enough, because Turkish doesn't have enough muscle to stimulate markets all around the world. So to do that, what we need is new airlines commencing services from different locations. Today Turkish is flying to Cluj. We are very eager to get a new airline flying from Yaş or Timișoara to Turkey. We know there is demand. We know people would like to travel, would like to find out more about the new destinations. And to do that, the airlines the airports, big airports like us, needs to cooperate and partner with, let's say, small locations or small airports with a very strong hinterland. And that's what we would like to aim to do going forward. And as a hub, during pandemic, I would say that we did pretty well. Relatively speaking, I call my airport as the most resilient airport in Europe. Our recovery was fast. We handled the biggest number of passengers since 2020. Probably this year we will again handle the biggest number in Europe. Most of the crises that we know, we listen in the morning, didn't happen in Turkey. At least we didn't create any trouble for traffic. Airline has some issues. That's why they're also cutting some capacity. But because of us, because of ground handling operations, we never created any capacity constraint or disruption ourselves. I'm very proud of that. So overall, we have an ambition to be one of the biggest hubs globally. And to do that, as we will discuss today, we need regional partnerships. We need to team up with small airports. We have to persuade them that they can use Istanbul also as their hub. With one-stop connection, we can avail services to over 300 locations via Istanbul, and so they don't need to really, put a direct connection between a small city and a big city in a continent. We can provide this service through Istanbul, and that's an education process that we will go through, and we are ready to do that.
Thank you very much. I think we can move on to the CEO of a very successful regional airport. David, congratulations once again on being awarded. A few words about your case, please.
Thank you very much. As I presented before, there is big potential not only for Cluj, for Romania. And congratulations to Kadri for the airport. In these 2 years, you have seen statistics. Istanbul airport and Turkish Airlines were in top in Europe, and to manage to double the traffic in the next years in Romania. As Kadri said, is necessary cooperation. New airlines to cooperate more with big hubs, and I'm happy that Istanbul is ready to cooperate with smaller airports and regional airports. It's not easy to develop traffic when you are small. And it was periods when big airports neglected smaller airports. So in order to manage to have in Romania 45 million passengers in the next years, is necessary to bring new airlines and to cooperate more, not only with regional airports, but with big hubs. Turkish Airlines, they have now a daily flight. I discussed earlier with Kadri to go together at Turkish. We hope next year to improve to 2 frequencies daily. And also we are very happy that Istanbul and Turkish, they are targeting other airports in Romania. A lot of challenges to develop traffic. Romania and Eastern European part in Europe, they have bigger potential than Western Europe, and probably we will have to discuss together, probably also to have a task force with airports, airlines, Ministry of Transportation, to prepare a roadmap regarding this. Unfortunately, in Romania now we do not have a national strategy for civil aviation for the next years. We want to ask for this, and a national strategy will help all the airports, the airlines, and air navigation services. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. And as we all know, both airlines and airports rely on successful supply chains, solid supply chains, and I think ground handlers play a major role in this context. So, Cristian, I would like to ask you to say a few things about Menzies Aviation.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be between the 2 successful story airports. One of the biggest one in Europe for the moment, and David is running, to become probably the biggest in Romania. Who knows? And we are the guys behind the scene, doing the work from the baggage seller to the aircraft side. Menzies, I'm lucky and I'm proud now to announce that we became #1 in the world based on the number of countries, 58. And we are second largest in the world based on number of the airports. We are running as well, like David, to catch #1. And you know probably who is it. I don't want to mention the name. And it was very tough 2 years. Very tough 2 years. I like the last word from this conference, partnership. I'm using it for the last 3 years. It's a partnership, and we are sorry now we don't have an airline here. Yeah, airports, airlines, handlers, and all the economical agents, from the airport. We need to partner up in order to pass this, difficult times. Probably the most difficult summer ever, 2022 ever. And the number of flights and the number of passengers exceeded our expectation, exceeded also the airline expectations, and we had to handle it. There were no more cancellation, no more COVID, and we had to handle it. You know the labor issues in Europe, you know the labor issues all over the world. Yeah, the rhythm of development will be done by the staff employment, the number of staff which we have. Aviation, unfortunately, is not very attractive anymore. The COVID proved it. The staff, years ago were proud to be employed in the airports, airlines. Not anymore. That glamour, probably, is somewhere there. We need to get them back to the, to our airports and airlines. And I'd like to congratulate, Istanbul. Tough times require tough decision. They took the decision to build a new one, totally from scratch, greenfield. This is a tough decision, and the history will prove they were right to do that. Probably, David, in 20 years, you said you want to reach 7 million. The city will come surrounding you, and then will be needed probably a tough decision to move away. Who knows? Yeah, we'll see. That pretty much it. We are taking all the claims from the passengers, and it's easy for us to put back to the airlines or the airport. It's not us guys, but we have to face all these claims. And I was asking Thomas, I'm sorry he left. He didn't mention the EU directive of compensations. The passenger, in my view, that's my personal opinion, have their expectations too high. You have 3 hours delay, 400. They immediately, these two words, 400. I'm entitled to get 400. And I told one passenger, if you pay 30 euro per ticket, why do you have this expectation to receive 400? Who will pay the difference? Probably today the airlines will have money, tomorrow, but it's not sustainable. Yeah, probably. So Thomas, I mentioned to him in the break, I said, pass it on the message to the EU commissioners, guys, do something with that directive because we are shooting ourselves in the foot. Yeah, I remember the number, 2019, one airline, the first two bigs, 28 million per year compensation. It's a high cost, yeah, and we will pay in the end, we as the passengers. Thank you very much. Not anymore from us. We will support our partners, airports and airlines, behind the scene. We are investing a lot in the new equipment, in electric equipment. And by the way, I've seen a prototype here, an electric bus, going around. It's a prototype. We have it in Bucharest for 2 months, and we send it out to Cluj for 2 or 3 weeks, and it will go to Italy. So these guys, the manufacturers, are working on it to support us, to support everybody to reach that target 2050. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cristian. Time to move on to the core of our discussion now. And wearing my academic hat, we keep saying in the economic geography of transport that airport infrastructure is a necessary but not a sufficient condition for enhanced accessibility. That means that you need the airport to be there, but just having the airport is not enough. And unfortunately, we've seen cases of what we call white elephants, meaning big airports that unfortunately didn't succeed. So question I would like to ask you, Kadri, is that you had one of the largest airports in the world. Obviously, there are lots of challenges around. I'm sure that the airport was built perhaps with a different vision before COVID-19. What we see now is new conditions emerging. How have you managed, or how are you planning to restructure your vision? What's the way forward?
Well, as I explained to the audience in the beginning of the panel, aviation is a key sector for Turkey. We will continue developing new infrastructure, and we will continue promoting Turkish airline all around the world to be one of the biggest legacy carrier, because it's in a service economy, to grow the GDP, you need to have, real rate of return for your investment. And Istanbul, as I told before, the old airport had huge capacity constraint. In this new airport, this is not just one airport in Istanbul. You should come and see with your naked eye what was developed around northern part of the city today. There's a third bridge, there's a highway connection, there's a new airport with abundant capacity. There's a, let's say, a new project which we call Channel Istanbul. If it happens, that's going to make the part I live in Istanbul an island, which is going to be, a big change in our geography. Why Turkey is doing that? And there's a high-speed connection between two airports of the city, one in the European side, one in the Asian side. Why Turkey is doing this is simply because we would like to be a logistics center in the future. The trade between West and East are growing incredibly. East is producing, West is consuming. And the only way to cater the growth of foreign trade in the world comes from being a logistics center. Turkey, Istanbul geographically is well located. In 3-hour distance of our city, there are 60 nations, 120 destinations. And to cater the growth of cargo requires land, requires infrastructure. In the old airport, we didn't have it. Now we have it. The total cargo volume we handle in Istanbul is 1.5 million tons. What's our capacity? 4.5 million. Currently, we are managing 1,400 flights per day. What's our capacity? 2,800. So it's working at 50% capacity. The terminal is 90 million passengers. With limited investment, we can increase it to 120 million. How many passengers we have? 70 million. So the road forward is still there. We are definitely impacted from the COVID. That was unforeseen. That also proved that the sector really relied on its resilience a lot, and complacency came very, very much in front of us. We believed nothing could happen to the aviation. The worst happened in September 11, we recovered the next year. No, this time it didn't work. For 2 years, for 2 months, we had zero volume. And we had to be agile, we had to be adaptive, we have to be really controlling a lot of criteria, KPIs in our balance sheet and as well as in our operations. So that didn't hinder Turkey going forward. In the future, I agree with you. I think the people in 10 years' time would call Turkey taking such smart decision, investing in such a big airport when the interest rates were at 0% and the commodity prices are so low. Today, if we start building our airport today, it's going to cost us twice as much as what we paid. So going forward, the biggest challenge of the industry is capacity. In the last 2 years, because of COVID, we were on holiday. We had abundant capacity, no passenger, who worries? But it's coming back. The experience in summer wasn't surprising. I think the lesson, especially the airline industry, was very slow. Check what happened at the airports in Eastern time, in April. That was the first sign. When the demand comes, there was problems in the airports. There were a lot of uncertainties. Nobody took an action. What we have experienced, a big boom in summer, and the big airports collapsed. So going forward, big hubs that we are competing with are going to be really trying hard how to increase their capacities. Because now the investment is much more expensive. Second of all, the environmental concerns, social concerns, especially in Europe, are very high. And the disruption in the labor market is really damaging the European airports. In my airport, we are all TL paid, Turkish lira paid. A devaluation of the currency, which is happening now in Turkey, is helping my financials. I'm paying less in euro terms because almost 92% of my income are euro based. and 75% of my cost is TL based. Therefore, in terms of strategy, we are more aggressive than before, because we know the competition is going to lag in terms of new capacity, in terms of managing the labor issues, environmental issues, and the sustainability issues. I mean, all of you are member of European Union. We are not. And I'm very happy that we are not. This Fit for 55 is extremely punitive. I'm telling you, spending 550 billion euro in 20 years' time is only going to be funded from one source. You told that. Passenger. Passenger means less travel. If you reflect this cost on the passengers, the reaction is going to be, I prefer going by train. I prefer not to flying intercontinental. It's too expensive. And now, in ACI Europe, my competitors are trying to impose the same conditions on Turkey, although we are not a member of EU. So there will be fair competition. They're also right. They say, we are going to pay 550 billion euro. Turkish airport operator will pay nothing. How am I going to survive against them? So, I mean, there was very hopeful sentence that, I mean, the other continents, good question, David, the other continents will follow Europe. I think it's very optimistic. Other continents are not as rich as Europe. And they are not as educated as Europeans. When you have no capital, I'm telling you, when you have no capital, I mean, you will be less worrying about the sustainability. But in Europe, I think the world needs to follow Europe's footsteps. Turkey should do to a certain extent without losing our competitive edge. But sustainability is the biggest concern for the growth of the industry. If these conditions are strictly imposed on us, I mean, that's going to be your problem first, meaning Europeans. Then it's also going to be my problem because we are not independent from Europe, I mean, 100%. But we need to get to net zero by 2050 somehow. I think that's not going to impact us as much as our competition. But in terms of strategy, as I told you, Istanbul has an aggressive growth plan in terms of additional capacity. Our master plan for 25 years is ready. All we need to see is the demand. When the passenger demand comes, when cargo demand comes, we will add additional capacity. We know we have 76 million square meter land. We have almost all the permits and license permits and approvals are granted. Therefore, we are looking to a much brighter future from Istanbul among the hubs, and the regional. I'll come back to the same subject. Regional cooperation, regional partnership is a tool, important tool for us to strengthen our position globally.
Thank you so much, and thank you also for raising the issue of financial sustainability. And David, even before COVID-19, I attended an ACI presentation, and they said that most regional airports were loss-making. That's always a big challenge for regional airports. Obviously, connectivity is of utmost importance, but this should be done also from a solid financial point of view. So I would like to ask about your plans, especially in the post-COVID-19 period. How are you planning to render Cluj Airport a success from a financial point of view?
Yes, for regional airports, it's a big challenge to be profitable. A lot of smaller European airports are losing money. That's why state had legislation regarding this is a debate, and it's very, very important. Regarding our airport, before COVID, we were profitable. Also this year, we will have profit. We estimate also in future profit. But of course, as Kadri said, net zero will be a big provocation, cost increase. My question regarding the other regions, we had a meeting with airport directors from Africa, and when we discussed about net zero, they started to laugh. They said, will never happen in Africa. So it's in the world, it's also a discussion. Fit for 55, different approaches of the countries. Cyprus said no, we will not commit for this. Also, there are 8-9 countries which made objections. They cannot, so it will be a debate, and as Kadri and Cristian said, the passenger will pay. Finally will pay the passenger. Now, for our development, we managed in the last 2 or 3 years to attract European funds. It was a good program for Romanian airports, and all the regional Romanian airports, they have projects. We have to finish until 31st of December 2023. It was a big help because for non-economical, for safety, security, it was financed 98%, and for infrastructure, for example, apron, it was 50%, and it was a big help for Romanian airports. Of course, there is a challenge with the ground handling companies. To Cristian, in the last 2 years, all the time I told him to put more people for luggage. It was a challenge, and probably the luggage delays will be a problem until next year. The regional, for us in Europe, European legislation is very important regarding state aid, regarding handling, regarding our activity, and that's why also our airports, Romanian Association of Airports, ACI Europe, we are making a lot of lobby regarding legislation.
Thank you so much. And now coming to Cristian. Cristian, as we all know, ground handlers were particularly hit by the pandemic. Not surprisingly, they had to engage in a number of redundancies, and now that traffic is bouncing back, especially this summer, we experienced big issues in certain airports. We are all familiar with long queues and problems in handling baggages and so on. So how you manage to go through these challenges, and what is the way forward now?
Thank you for the question. Yeah, tough times, tough decisions. We were the only handler in Romania which we didn't fire anyone. Luckily, the government supported. We have technical unemployment, and we were risking to the end. End was June last year, 21. Of course, the people who wanted to leave, we let them go. Yeah, and then the recovery was a little bit much faster. And I have a saying: if for us it's difficult, the others are not there anymore. Yeah, so it was very challenging. I will tell you an example. I was obtaining all the approvals to bring 25 people from Bangladesh. First time in the Romanian aviation history, background checks or whatever. After I've got all the approvals, I canceled the project because we are still a transit country. Yeah, they were supposed to come 3 weeks, 4 weeks. They're going to West Europe countries. And luckily, the construction business will slow down. And I've managed to employ people from the construction companies. And nobody mentioned here the crisis, economical crisis, which will come and will affect all of us. The energy price is up. As Kadri mentioned, tough decisions, it was perfect, And I do understand your reservation about the, 2050, carbonization, whatever. I will tell you, we had Fukushima in Japan, the accident. All the countries said no more nuclear energy. Good. They forgot because the energy prices are going up. We renounced the coal. Yeah, no more coal because we are polluting the environment. Now, put back everything, let's start to burn some coal. It will change. The strategy will adapt, in my view. We'll be forced to adapt. Yeah, so I'm, optimist as nature. I have to be optimist. With all these problems, you have to remain optimist because everything will come and go. Yeah, you need to be agile, as Kadri mentioned, adapt to the new situation immediately. Another last example I will tell you, ICAO, years ago said countries, UN members, states, you have to have national facility program. Do it. This is the 50 pages, do it. And we did something in Romania. The CAA is here. We translated, we put it there. Nobody give the importance to the health public authority. Nobody, 3 years ago. Or at least they were there somewhere in the airports. 2020, they were the kings. Yeah, they were decided what to come into country, what not. Yeah, national, health authorities. And we need to work together to have a strong facility program in the country where it's written everybody what obligation they have. And with that, we will succeed. And the last thing, the airlines will become stronger and fewer. You have to think the airports probably will become, fewer and stronger. And the trains will come, our competitor, the speed trains will come, probably will take some of the traffic, and the time will not be time sensitive anymore. We are living in a domain, aviation, we are counting the minutes. Not everybody will count the minutes like us. For us, we are doomed for the life, we will count the minutes for the rest of our lives. But not everybody is living like us in a very much, speed. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I think it's time to move on to the environmental issue. I mean, you have all three already touched on that. And Cristian, I'll start again with you. Do you think that ground handlers are in need of environmental accreditation? Should they participate in these sort of schemes? Or are they more for, let's say, B2C or B2C business? What do you think? Because, as you said, you are in the backstage, so is this important for you?
Again, an example. Life beat the movies, yeah? Cluj Airport. We are forced to invest in only electric equipment. Force. This is the new rule. You cannot bring any more diesel on the apron. So we will be forced by the regulators, and we will spend the money to invest in the electric equipment and everything. For the moment, the manufacturers have some limits. Yeah, years ago you order an EBT 1 month delivery. Now 7 to 8 months delivery. Of course, we will follow. And again, why not to us? The handlers will be fewer. Thank you.
Thank you. And Kadri, what do you think about carbon accreditation at an airport level? Is this important?
I think it's very important because it puts all of us into the same, framework. This is number one. But again, let me emphasize: there's a huge difference between Europe and the rest of the world. How they see the sector is impacting the environment, and at the same time, I have to tell to the audience: I think aviation is harshly criticized with the carbonization because sea transportation is generating more carbonization than us. But no one hears their name. Hears about this part of the transportation. They all talk about airlines. I think there's a untold, I would say, motivation behind putting aviation as the scapegoat of, carbon issues globally. The accreditation of airports is a must. All of us are committed to net zero by 2050. And I'm telling you, we'll be there. Airports are the last in the rank because we are not really, I mean, as airports, I mean, carbonizing the environment. I mean, my airport is the newest infrastructure in the world. I'm telling you, I will get to net zero much earlier than 2050. David is going to be there much earlier than 2050. I think the issue is with the airlines. I mean, they are pushed to use SAF, but is it affordable? No. I mean, Turkish Airlines flying to Finland once a week, one flight per week out of, I don't know, 4,000 flights using SAF. How are we going to make it scalable? This is the issue. And in order to make it scalable, I think the expectation should be reasonable. If the expectation is out of realities, and the expectation is just to convince the public that the aviation is going to be ready to reduce the carbon emission that they generate, it's a news in the media, I'm telling you. I think we should be very candid. The sustainability measures that we have been discussing, we have been committing, should be reasonable, and it should be financially affordable. We are not going to be killing our businesses. If airlines are killed, I am unemployed, I'm telling you. Because we are the infrastructure provider. Without the user, we are meaningless assets. And if Europe, I mean, I just want to be trying to provoke maybe the audience a bit. I mean, this fit for 55. I mean, I think everybody should oppose to that. I mean, if flying is going to be more expensive, then how are we going to keep the employment? How are we going to keep the people using the airports? Because they will pay the price. So from my perspective, and from Turkey's perspective, that's also what I'm voicing to the government in Turkey. We will commit as much as we can to the sustainability measures determined by European Union or global organizations, as long as it's reasonable and financially affordable. We are not going to be taking action at the expense of killing our business model. No, it's not going to happen. I'm telling you. As David said, Africans are laughing. Most of the Asians are laughing as well. They said, everything finished. I'm the guy in the spotlights. I mean, everybody is pushing the ball towards someone else. Europe is doing an admiring job. Europe is serious. Europe is really want to protect its continent at this. But I'm telling you, if the other 5 continents, the other 4 continents, or at least 3 continents are talking something else when we discuss the sustainability, you can only protect your own island. Everything surrounding you is going to be wasted. Therefore, the meetings at ICAO level, the meetings at global level are very important. Every country has their own vested interest. Our countries are being run by politicians. They are there to win the elections. Don't forget this. They are there to win the elections. They are not going to be losing the elections by imposing certain regulations which is going to be damaging the economy. I can talk on my country behalf. Next year we have an election. And go and tell our president, take a measure which is going to kill the economy. He won't take it. Next year, Greece will have an election. The other year, Romania will have an election. So it's so difficult. Harmonize everybody's mindsets for sustainability. Look what happened in COVID. It's the most regulated industry, right? Aviation. What we have seen. Everybody went their own way. Every country imposed different remedy to manage the COVID crisis. So an issue like sustainability, so big, so detailed, involving so many parties, good luck to all of us, I'm telling you. But as institutions, as airports, I'm very relaxed. We are not carbonizing the environment. What we do is very limited. We are using many electrical vehicles in our operations. In maybe 10 years' time, he will confirm. There will be maybe much less, vehicles using combustibles. We are using solar panels to generate electricity. We will put 80 megawatt solar panels, solar capacity at the airport. We are every new airport, when they invest, when they would put here a new terminal, it's going to be very much environmentally friendly. I'm telling you, he's going to be using daylight. He's going to be using, automatic cooling, which is basically benefiting from the, fresh air, like we did in Istanbul. Therefore, airports are not the issue. Airports will be there. The issue is the airlines. So, pushing them use SAF, pushing them to use hydrogen, going forward, is a good start. But the timeline is tough for airlines, I'm telling you. And if we hurt the airlines, you will directly hurt the airports as well. Therefore, we should be smart, we should be reasonable, and we should really watch our financials. All balance sheets were hit badly in the last 2 years. We are indebted up to here. State supported all of us. But now state is no longer there. We have to be generating our own revenue. We have to be controlling our own cost. So the buffer is gone. And therefore, sustainability is a nice subject that we should talk, but please, we should be reasonable and financially, the measures we take should be financially sound. Otherwise, it's just going to be damaging our revenue streams, and financial sustainability, as you said, will be harmed badly.
Thank you so much. And I think we all agree that decarbonization is a global issue. So if we only pursue regional or local solutions, that's not going to be very effective. But David, there are also cases where we have local environmental impact, including, for example, airport noise, or how to treat de-icing liquids, cases with respect to how we deal with underground water. So what's the policy implemented by Cluj Airport with respect to local environmental issues?
We implemented measures regarding noise and other aspects. Unfortunately, we are in the city. It's very good that the new airplanes are less noisy. We still remember Antonov or other airplanes which were very noisy. The people now are more aware regarding this. We do not, from time to time, we have several complaints. We respect the European regulation, and we check what it happens, but not all the time they are right when they complain. And also we had discussion. Okay, if there will be a very big problem, let's make a referendum. Probably the majority want to have an airport. Also, we consider it's not very good that, like Kadri said regarding decarbonization, it's a pressure on aviation, not on other parts. Also, the noise here in Cluj, the biggest noise is by train and by car traffic downtown in the peak hours. But it's not a big pressure on train and not a big pressure regarding car traffic. It's a pressure on aviation. But we respect the law. We try to check everything, and also the other aspects. We had discussions. Okay, a lot of houses were built around in the last years around the airport, and we ask, okay, you build a house near the railway station. You expect the railway station will move? So, but we understand these concerns. We address this concern, and also there is the experience of new Istanbul airport. Everywhere you put a new airport, the city will come. So it's not the biggest problem. We are in the city, but the city will come and will develop around the airports.
Great, and that brings me to the issue of partnerships, because if we are to promote regional connectivity, focusing on partners and effective stakeholder management is very important. In Europe, we've experienced several times what we call the NIMBY problem, not in my backyard. So, for example, it took 50 years for the British to build a new runway in southeast of England. Similar cases elsewhere. How do you deal with local stakeholders here in Cluj?
We have a very good relationship with our stakeholders. We have a lot of committees. We cooperate. We discuss with them. Running an airport, it's about cooperation. It's about collaboration. So it's one of our main tasks.
Okay, thank you so much. And Kadri, what do you think?
Well, for our project, of course, every stakeholder has a financial incentive of IGA, Istanbul Airport, be successful, because we have to, the incentive for us is we have to make so much money to continue invest into airport, to pay down the debt, and also on top of that pay to the government €1 billion every year. Therefore, we seek the support of every stakeholders from A to Z. And if the support is not there, I mean, in a steady manner, our operations are impacted. Therefore, and it's our company, our airport is considered a state. I mean, I would say a state asset still, although it's being run by a private company. The state assumes significant ownership in day-to-day matters that I deal with. I mean, it's not surprising if I receive calls from various ministers in case something comes up in Istanbul Airport, because they wanna find out what happened. They wanna give update to the president, and like everybody, our stakeholders are very top level, because it's a big asset. It's impacting the operations of Turkish Airlines as well. Therefore, they are very sensitive to the development around us. And we don't have issues like as David might have here, because the airport is located in a remote part or underdeveloped part of Istanbul. Currently, we don't have much residential development around the airport. Therefore, the noise is not a big issue. The nearest neighborhood or nearest region in Istanbul is newly developing, but they are coming. I mean, we are talking about 300,000 people coming to the airport every day. Almost 80,000 people are working, I mean, 7/24. Imagine the circulation of the services, labor, and other related businesses around the airport, in the airport and around the airport. Therefore, and Istanbul is a big city. Therefore, we see more and more growing interest for residential development in the area. Currently in Istanbul, we don't have a curfew. I mean, you can operate 24 hours a day. And in fact, if you're a hub, and if you are located geographically in a place like Istanbul, you need to operate 24 hours, because the flights to east are leaving at midnight, flights to west are leaving during the day, and each direction, the aircrafts are using in each direction, each side of Europe are requiring using the same aircraft. Therefore, the plane coming from US or North America are going to Far East in the evening. Therefore, 24 hours operation is extremely important for the growth of the airport. And that's something I personally deal with the Minister of Environment a lot to persuade them not to be raising a lot of red flags because of the increased frequency after certain hours. But the current growth path of Turkish Airlines is going to require more for us keeping this 24-hour service available. Anything beyond that is going to be dealt daily with the decision makers, and usually they are most of the time pretty supportive.
Thank you so much. And Cristian, being a B2B business, how important is stakeholder management for you?
Very important. I was remembering developing the airports. I was telling to Iași Airport Management 10 years ago, you develop in your rhythm, do not worry about us. We will follow you. And in order to build big hub like Istanbul, you need a big airline. It was proven in the last 50 years, yeah? You want to develop the airport, you need a big and strong airline to back you up, to bring your passengers. So I have a message for all the airports. You develop in your rhythm because we will follow. Do not worry, we will invest, we'll keep the rhythm. Although we are the people behind the scene, we have to deliver. We have to deliver, otherwise you are in the spotlight from the politicians, the airports and airlines, but we are backing you up and with the investment and our procedures and integration of the systems together with the airports and the airlines to make our lives easier, yeah, to support all this growth. Thank you.
A short remark Kadri said about curfew. I do not consider for noise curfew is a solution. Curfew will increase the price of the ticket for the passengers. The passenger will pay more because of the curfew.
Thank you. And Cristian, just a follow-up question. I mean, you are a very big company with global presence, very strong brand name. Are you tending to be proactive or reactive in your partnerships in general? And is it easy to work with airports or with airlines? Or what are the challenges there?
We are in the middle.
Yeah, I know, but...
our customers are the airlines. The airline customer is the passenger, but our customers are the airlines. And our stronger partnership we have with the airport. You cannot exist as a handler if the airport will not allow you to, to operate. Yeah, so we are in the middle. So far, so good. I can say so far, so good. It's working, and we will not stop. We need to think proactive. I'm telling to all my staff, whatever I'm thinking now, it will happen in 2 years. Whatever is happening now, I was thinking 2 years ago. So we have to be proactive.
Great. I think we have still about 2 or 3 minutes. Any questions from the floor, please, for our esteemed guests? Okay. If not, may I just kindly ask you to just wrap up in 1 minute what are the key takeaways, Kadri, from your perspective?
I mean, my key takeaway, from today's discussion is basically regional partnership is extremely valuable and useful. If the small airports wants to survive going forward, they should be also really thinking more about connectivity. Hubs like us can provide it. Cluj, David should not really try hard to put a direct flight from Cluj to Beijing. It's waste of time, waste of resource. Turkish Airlines is there. Lufthansa is there. Emirates is there. So if you connect these small airports into big hubs, and where you will have good connectivity, good connection flights to long distance destinations, then it's a solution. David has been a very successful case, I think, for that. He used to have 2 flights when I came here in 1997. Now he's flying 68. Wizz is here. Look at the names. Wizz, Blue, Tarom, Turkish, Lufthansa, all guys are coming here. All these airlines are providing connectivity to people living in Cluj and in the hinterland. That's a good model. I mean, my takeaway from this is basically it works. We need to promote this model to attract Timisoara, to attract Iași, to other small airports in Europe. So they will be able to tell to the people living here, look, you want to go to Beijing? Here is the connection. Take the Turkish airline, stop over in Istanbul 2 hours, then wherever you want to go. You want to go to New York, you want to go to, Beijing, the service is there. The airport is nice, so you don't mind. So by doing that, David will also open the doors for Chinese people coming here. These are the rich guys, I'm telling you. Get them. Get them. I mean, he made me very upset. The Athens got 3 times more Chinese people than Istanbul, so we need to work hard as well. So, joke aside, this event is very useful event for the local people to understand what has been done here in the last 20 years. Cluj is now connected to the world. We do our part of the responsibility with Turkish Airlines. Lufthansa does their part of responsibility by putting here three flights per day. That's what we need to do. We need to replicate all around Europe.
Thank you. And David, key takeaways?
I totally agree with Kadri, and what I would like to emphasize, when the traffic collapsed due to COVID, the big carriers and the big airports, they understood better the importance of regional airports. And because when everything is going okay, you do not see sometimes when there is a disruption, when it's missing, you concentrate more on the importance. So I totally agree, and I'm happy Kadri agree, and also with Romanian airports, we consider to start to focus more on bigger airports and to have a better cooperation.
Thank you. And Cristian?
Partnership. Again, I'm emphasizing partnership. Airline, airports, handlers, authorities. We have the regulator here in the back from the CAA. The regulation must adapt a little bit to keep the pace with the new changes. Because if we don't change the regulation, we have obstacles. Yeah, partnership. I'm always saying that all the system must, be integrated to make our lives easier. A click button, will make the difference totally instead of using papers for I don't know so many years. And yeah, partnership again. And Kadri, I have a message for you. You said if the airlines will not fly, you will be unemployed. Build a railway station below the airport, and you will have a railway station as well.
But that doesn't pay off the debt.
Excellent. So thank you so much. I think we had a very insightful discussion, and it's time for a coffee break. Thank you.